Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Sneople at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. From the kids who are gay, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Helena.
I'm Ezra.
And I'm Maddie. I wrote that joke and I still laughed.
It's Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
We're gay.
We're gay.
If you're listening to this, there's a high chance that so are you.
Gosh, I sure hope so.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, congratulations, you're gay now.
Oh yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
I hope that works out for you. We're very proud of you for coming out.
Yeah.
Etc., etc. Saw some really cute coming out cards in one of those, like, gift and novelty shops things on Hawthorne when I was bopping around, and I was just like, yeah, there was a really cute one that was like it just was like in the trans pride flag colors. It just said "nice to meet you," and I was like, "Oh."
I got a compliment on my pronouns button a while back from a barista, which is, of course, the one that has a skull on it that says she, they. And I chose that one not only because of the correct pronouns, but also because it reminded me of Hamlet. And I wish I knew the artist.
she, they, queen, yeah.
But yeah, go and check it out. Yeah, Hamlet's a she, they icon, as we all know.
Yeah, and we know this. Yeah,
wrote Hamlet that way with that intention.
Yeah.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Do we want to introduce the topic first, or do we want to talk about what we've seen first?
Let's what we've seen. We have some stuff to catch up on because we missed an episode.
We have some sneepage.
So we gotta do some damn shit. Okay, let's fucking go. I watched a lot more TV than I usually do, which was crazy. But I was on vacation, so I was watching it with people, which makes it easier. I watched Scavenger's Reign, which is an animated show. It's now on Netflix. It is very good. We're hoping for season 2. Fingers crossed. Rewatched Howl's Moving Castle. Rewatched Escape from New York. Watched Slay, which is free on Tubi, and I highly recommend it because it's a goopy movie about drag queens like vampires.
Love.
And it fucks. Rewatched Priest. Rewatched The Princess Bride in a theater, which was fucking awesome.
That was really fun.
And watched Speed Racer 2008 for the first time just before we recorded. I'm so glad I enjoyed that movie. I always knew I would, but I'm glad that I was correct. TV-wise, I watched Season 2 and then parts of Season 1 and 3 of Sort Of. I came in partway through Season 1 and then left partway through Season 3, so I kind of got, like, bookends. I watched the Fallout show finally, which I really liked, actually. I was very pleased. I started Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. I am continuing to rewatch Case Closed and Psych. I started watching this anime called Housing Complex C, but it was really racist, like, right off the dome. I was like, I think I'm good. Thank you, though. I started watching 30 Coins, which they actually just talked about on Syndicated with Leslie and Ben. Really am into it so far. It's Spanish language, but watch it, get over it. Use subtitles.
So true.
I started watching the 80s Pet Cemetery, and then I remembered that multiple people wanted to watch it with me, so I stopped. But the first 15 minutes of the movie are pretty good.
Good.
I also started listening to the Mistborn audiobook, which is also very good so far, and I started a new Dragon Age Inquisition playthrough because of all the Dragon Age 4 news, and I cracked that open like a walnut and stuffed some mods in there, and I am romancing Solus as a human male because I was like, hey gang, who should I romance? And a couple people, including someone on this call, was like, you should romance Solus, so I'm taking that bullet for the team, and I'm romancing Solus for the lore, so...
Maddie, I will happily out myself as the person who voted for you to romance Solus. Partly, thank you for your service for going and getting the lore firsthand. Also, because I knew that watching you be mad about it would be funny.
Fucker.
I'm not usually the mean one on this podcast, but sometimes I'm the mean one.
I was at dinner for our friend Madeline's birthday, who has been on the show, obviously, and mentioned that she had also voted to have me roommate Solus, and her roommate turned to me and was like, Madeline? And I was like, yeah, ask her. She's right there. Fucking ask her. And then roommate turned to Madeline and was like, you're making them romance Solus? And Madeline was like, yeah, well, I don't want to.
God, that's so based.
So I was like, you fucking, stupid.
In 60 words or less,
yeah.
What is the deal with this person, and why is it weird that you would want to romance them? As someone who has never played a single solitary second of Dragon Age in their fucking life.
Word counter.
Oh yeah, no, the word counter is important here.
Okay. He is an asshole.
Okay.
Commas, I assume, count as just his characters.
That's characters. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's characters.
He tricks, just spelled tricks wrong, you the whole time during the game. Comma, he breaks up with you at the end of the game. No matter what you do.
Oh my god.
In the canon game, comma, he is racist against anyone who isn't an elf. I'm at 42 words.
Okay. I mean,
also,
I get it.
Comma,
but yes.
He looks like an egg, comma, he's ugly as fuck. Well, I'm at 52 words, so I gotta be really careful with these last 8. I modded him to be hot. That's 58 words.
Maddie,
and bye.
And bye.
Oh, perfect.
Words.
There you go.
Maddie, I've always
because he's anyway.
I've always admired your writing.
Yeah.
Looking at my word density, it looks like I used the word game 3 times.
You mean, whatever.
Amazing.
First drafts and all.
Yes.
Okay, understood.
He's Helena, this is the one where you don't get, I would argue, plot critical information to, the story of the game, unless you fuck him, which you can
or
only
you eventually play the DLC.
Or you eventually play the DLC.
That came later, obviously.
But it's a completely different game if you romance him than if you don't. And you can only romance him as a female elf because he's racist and also straight.
Yeah. And also there was so much discourse about the soulless girls versus everybody else. Because everyone else was like, why the fuck did he do this to us? He pretended to be our friend and then totally boned us at the end. That sucks.
He, effectively sleeps with you under false he effectively enters into a relationship with you under completely false pretenses and also will, without asking you, remove your, clan tattoos.
Well, yeah, because he thinks that they're, a sign of... Cause
he's like,
these were a sign of oppression.
You're 5,000 years ago because you're older than dirt.
Yeah, and now for us, this is a sign of attachment to, our clan and our people. I think you can be, if you can break up with him and be no, don't do that.
But you can't continue his romance, though.
Yeah, I am interested to see how that will work for me, considering I don't have those.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating. All of the people who mod Solus to be, this is something that I've been bitter about for literally 10 years or whatever. So
apparently his romance isn't even that good. Because they added it last minute. So there's people online who are like, why are all these Solus girlies so attached to him? His romance is really boring. The more I read about his romance, I'm like, God, I wish I wasn't doing that.
I'm so sorry. I will retract my vote just because it doesn't actually sound like it's. I thought it was going to be fun to watch you be annoyed about it, but I think it's actually just going to be boring, and that's not why I voted for that one.
I know. I might break up with him or have him break up with me and then go kiss Cullen instead.
Whatever works.
I'm gonna figure out what I can do here. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway,
I am excited about Veilguard, though. Yeah, and also, Helena, this will mean something to you particularly.
Mm-hmm.
He is voiced by Gareth David Lloyd, and I still hate him.
He does have a nice voice.
A person for whom Torchwood was, like, embarrassingly formative.
That's so random.
And it's Gareth David Lloyd. And I hate the character. I'm like...
It says something that he's got such a great voice, and they made him so ugly.
Is he Welsh?
Like, why would you do that?
No.
Oh.
He doesn't, I mean, maybe a little. I don't think it's Gareth David Lloyd using his natural accent. I don't think. I haven't listened. It is? I can't remember his... I've spent a lot of time not actually listening to the dialogue of Dragon Age Inquisition because I just read the subtitles and then listen to music because I have a weird brain and sometimes I can't just concentrate on a video game.
It's been... I don't bring him with me because I'm like, I'd rather be hanging out with Vivian instead because she's hot and cool.
Yeah, I don't usually bring him anywhere. I either bring Vivian because she's hot, cool, and useful, or I bring Dorian because I'm a homosexual.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
L'chaim.
I know what all of those
I wish you the best.
I'm gonna get rid of this pin that says Jonathan Cena. Goodbye, Jonathan Cena, so I can pin these 60 words instead.
Okay. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'm like fucking over 20 hours in and I just got to Skyhold. There's so much to do in this game.
So much to do in this game. I need to my roommate who really does not enjoy Dragon Age Inquisition is going out of town, so I am committed to finishing as much of Dragon Age Inquisition as I can while the roommate is not here and does not have to I don't have to put my roommate through this.
Bro, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming. We gotta hurry up.
Fuck!
We gotta play that together, so we gotta hurry up.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. Stay tuned for more me being like, I love Solus as a friend, but doing his romance, I'm like, I'm gonna pile drive you, and not in a sexy way.
Yeah.
So would you say, Maddie, that
I'm dating sad boy Cullen right now?
This has been sort of a hyperfixation for you in the past few weeks, would you say?
Dragon Age?
Yeah.
No,
it hasn't. Or not like hyperfixation, just like something that you've been spending a lot of time with.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Just because I go through phases where I'm like, I'm gonna play a bunch of this game, and then I don't.
I gotcha.
So
I was trying.
Yeah, where's this leading? I feel like this is leading up to a joke.
It's not.
I'm
so
trying
much
to yes and you, but I'm not sure. Okay,
I appreciate it. I was trying to make a transition into what the inside of my brain has.
Yeah, I've been really into Dragon Age. Helena, what have you really been into recently?
Thanks, Maddie. The second season of Interview with the Vampire is back, and the season finale is next week, and I can't think about anything else. Because
I just saw some spoilery stuff on my dash for it, and I am immediately deleting it all from my brain because the specific thing that I saw was what finally made me go, I have to watch this show.
Okay. I was gonna sell you on it with Ben Daniels, but if, you know...
Oh, no, I was planning on watching it because of a number of things, including being absolutely rabidly attracted to Ben Daniels. It's Ben Daniels doing Alan Cumming as the MC in Cabaret, which, as we all know, was, like, again, cartoonishly I encountered that at a young age, and oh boy.
People who read the books but haven't watched the show yet, for some reason, Ben Daniels is playing Santiago, and he's playing it half, as Ezra says, as Alan Cumming doing the MC in Cabaret, and half as, like, a theater lovey, like Ian, like 1960s, 1970s RSC, like Ian McKellen. It's kind of and that's just one part of what's been making me insane. There's actually I'm not going to talk about it too long. I have been watching a little bit more TV than usual because this has been happening to my brain, and things are happening vis-a-vis things that have never been adapted from the books before, and that might actually be happening that are like most things that happen in the Interview with the Vampire books, the Vampire Chronicles, clinically insane stuff that I'm very excited to see happen. but the anticipation of waiting to see them happen is driving me cuckoo bananas while I think about how they're going to do it, if they're going to do it. Um, and in the meantime, the acting, the writing, and all of the very, very sad stuff that happens this season has also been like making me go insane. It's a great show, but I wish, gosh, sure wish I could think about other stuff. I have been trying to watch other things and read other things in the meantime to varying degrees of success. So let's talk about that as well. Um, I rewatched The Avengers. That was a thing that I did. I watched Bad Influence with James Spader and Rob Lowe, which is a movie that happened.
Interesting
That's
combo.
extremely it's from the 80s. It's or no, early 90s. It's like 1990. Extremely, extremely, extremely homoerotic. It's kind of not not talented Mr. Ripley, but it has vibes of that kind of like gay person who's trying to subsume your personality and your life. But I watched it for James Spader Thirst Watch, which I'll bring up again at the end of this paragraph. I also watched Bright Star, which is just devastating and incredible. I don't understand why Abby Cornish in particular, because like I know that Ben Whishaw can act, like this is a thing that obviously I know, but I don't understand why Abby Cornish didn't get more recognition for her acting in that movie because she's incredible.
Just oh my god. I love Bright Star. That's one of those movies that I made my mom take me to when it was in the theater and then just got like absolutely emotionally ruined.
Yeah. It was great. It was a great time to sit in my room and cry about Keats. I watched Furiosa. That is a thing that I did.
Nice.
It fucking whips. It is.
I still have not seen it.
I also rewatched it again today because a friend of mine is in town who wanted to see it, hadn't seen it yet, and was like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, I was planning on seeing it again because the first time that I watched it, it is a 2.5 hour movie. It is a lot of movie, but in a different way than Fury Road is a lot of movie. So I was kind of sitting back and letting myself be kind of uh absorbing all of the there of it and the David Lean epicness of it all. And so this time I was trying to more follow the beats and things. It's still really good, still a very different movie from Fury Road, and I think a lot of people, if they go in comparing it to that the whole time, which is inevitable, like I understand that that's going to happen, are probably going to be like, this isn't the kind of movie that I want. But I think that is good. I think it is good that it is very different. Chris Hemsworth is fantastic in this movie. Anya Taylor-Joy is great. Tom Burke, though, is in this movie, who doesn't get to do a lot of these kind of roles very often, and he's really hot in it and really good, which makes me very happy. So people should go see Furiosa. It's great. He's still like George Miller is still doing things with cameras and the screen that are and the visual effects and car chases that are insane. And like I rewatched this movie today. I went to go to the theater and I came home and I was like, well, I started rewatching Age of Ultron. Not rewatching. I started watching Age of Ultron for the first time because I've never seen it before. And so I finished it tonight. And watching that after watching Furiosa was kind of embarrassing. But I did that. I watched Targets, which is a really great movie. Ben talked about that movie on the last episode, so I won't go into too great of a detail here, but it's really great. I rewatched. I'm still rewatching a bunch of Marvel movies, so I rewatched Iron Man. I saw the TV Glow, which is extremely good.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out if it's still showing, and I want to see it in a theater if I can.
It is very good. I would, prepare yourself because it is very devastating. And I know, like...
Okay, so I actually have a couple of questions about this movie.
Yes.
So, I I've like read about the director's debut feature, which is the We're All Going to the World's Fair one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can't. Reading the Wikipedia article for that made me feel like I was gonna die. It was so fucking I was like, nope, 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 nope. This is exactly the kind of like creepypasta shit that makes me want to jump out a window and like you know, like throw my computer into the Puget Sound. But I Saw the TV Glove doesn't seem like a horror movie.
It's not really. Like, there are elements of it that are eerie in a kind of like, in the kind of style that it is trying to evoke when they watch the television show within the show. That's like,
sure,
the Are You Afraid of the Dark style Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as it kind of verges a little bit into David Lynch area sometimes, and it's more an emotional reaction to the themes of the movie that is hard to watch. I will say that, like, we're all going to the World's Fair, I also saw, and I don't know what the Wikipedia summary is like. I thought it was not that scary at all, like, just in general, but so like I don't know what the Wikipedia summary of it is.
I don't handle I don't know, it seemed like it would lean really heavy into an unreality thing in a way that doesn't usually bother me, but was like, you know what it was? No, you know what, it's the fucking poster. It's the like where somebody's got like glow in the dark paint that they're like on top of their human face. My brain, if you try to anything that does like we made the human like a human face that looks wrong, I like gives me like a fucking panic response. I hate that shit. So as long as they're not needed, I don't know, it just seemed like insanely fucking, maybe it's not as creepy as it may like seemed or something. I mean, but I feel like a ton of my friends who were not previously into horror movies have become like huge horror nuts in the last year, and I'm like not still. And sometimes it makes where previously I feel like I could be like, oh, so and so, like everybody else's tolerance has gotten a lot higher, and mine has more or less stayed the same. And I am feeling like, you know, I am feeling embarrassed about that, but that's like a me problem, not anybody else problem. But it means that like I have to like ask more detailed questions, because what's going to freak me directly the fuck out is no longer like as immediately like, oh, well, this also freaked me out, so I should let Ezra know. It's like, well, this was fine, and I'm gonna be like, I have to go, like, fucking drown my laptop or whatever, because it's gonna eat me.
I think, I Saw the TV Glow, like, thinking really hard about it, I think the director has said a little bit of this themselves, that it's not, or herself, like, it's not really meant to be a horror movie, but people assumed that it would, like a straight up horror movie, but people assumed it would be because We're All Going to the World's Fair is.
Okay.
But there is an element of emotional like turmoil to it, which I think is, for me, even harder to watch. In a good way. Like, I liked it, but
I know that's what I'm looking into.
Yeah.
Like, that I'm prepared for. I'm trying to figure out if it has a bunch of, like, I don't want to get hit with a bunch of body horror out of nowhere, because it kind of seems like sometimes things are like, hey, would you like some body horror? And I'm like, not what I signed up for.
Not in the way that you are thinking, I think. There is a moment at the very, very end, but it's not body horror in like that sudden, in the way that you were talking about with the poster, where it's like it's like human faces not looking like real faces, if that makes sense. Like, it's a different kind of, there is like stuff that somebody does, but it's you know, I don't know. I don't think,
as long as it's like telegraphed, I'll probably be able to deal with it.
Yeah,
I love being I'm transgender. My entire existence is body horror, and then I'm like, I hate. Most people are like, and that means I love body horror in fiction, and I'm like, I hate body horror in fiction.
It really depends for me.
It's more like what it is that I need to know what I'm going into.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's like, if I know to expect it, it's fine. If I get jump scared by it, it's not fine.
Yeah. No, I don't think there's anything that's gonna.
I really want to watch this movie, so
it's really great. I really recommend it.
It looks really cool.
It's gorgeous looking. Which I really liked, because I I personally was kind of lukewarm on We're All Going to the World's Fair. I know a lot of people were like really excited about it. It is, I think, a really impressive and unique debut film. But I found it to be, I'm not really and I'm trying to be, I'm not really a slow cinema person. And I think that
Fair.
it's a very unique film. World's Fair is a very unique horror movie because it is kind of like slow cinema horror, and that's fine. That's really cool. It's just not really my thing personally, so I find it really hard to connect to. This one, I thought, like, because of the success of the first movie, she was really able to up um, the budget, obviously, and so a lot of that went into how this film looked, and it looks incredible. And the tone and the style that she was able to capture for all of it was really 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 neat. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to be a really important movie for a lot of people, so that's good too.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome. Jane Schoenbrun looks absolutely wildly like a friend of mine. I just like looked at their Wikipedia page and was like, this person looks like, I gotta send a picture of them to Ruby and be like, you have a doppelganger. This is weird.
Maybe
anyway,
she
sorry.
should be your friend. But I watched that. I saw that in theaters. It was great. I also rewatched Mad Max Fury Road. I watched Inferno, and also, I'll just skip ahead a little bit. I watched Tenebrae, which are both Dario Argento movies that are currently on the Criterion Channel featured because they have synth soundtracks. I'm really, really trying with Argento. I've watched like 4 of his movies now. I really am trying. I don't know if he's my thing. It's fine. They do look really impressive, and I'll keep watching some of them, but the Italian dubs really get to me, y'all. I'm sorry. I have a really hard time with it. Um, which I don't always like. They have really bad Italian dubbing in or dubs for Italian actors in Demons, but it works in Demons for some reason for me, and I haven't really been able to get past it in any of these ones. That's fine. I rewatched Fantastic Mr. Fox with Wes Anderson's commentary because why not?
Nice.
I have to watch it at least twice a year or else I'll perish. I watched Escape from New York, which Maddie, you also watched Escape from New York, so handshake meme there.
Okay, I guess I have to watch Escape from New York now.
It is on the Criterion Collection until the end of the month.
Oh yes. Shit, okay, I got time.
Yeah, I rewatched it because I was just like on the Criterion Collection looking for something to put on the background, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't watched this in a minute. Click.
Click.
Nice.
It's just that easy.
It's just that easy.
It's cool. Kurt Russell's pretty hot in that movie. Good for
True.
him.
And without that movie, we wouldn't have Metal Gear.
And without that movie, we wouldn't have Metal Gear. So true.
And that's beautiful.
I'm not a gamer, but even I know that. And even I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I rewatched Before Midnight with Richard Linklater and Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy's commentary. That was a lot of fun. They're crazy. I rewatched Captain America Winter Soldier. Dabs. I just did a really half-hearted dab on the video. I didn't even raise my arms very high. I don't know. That movie. It's not very good.
Go ahead.
But
go ahead and say it.
It's not very good, but Bucky. Bucky.
I mean, if we're looking at MCU level of quality,
sure, it's up on the higher scale. But
yeah,
the politics of it are just so. I'm like, what are you trying to say to me? Do you?
Yeah,
know?
They're confusing. Also, this is another Metal Gear. I'm watching it, and I'm like, now the timeline is Escape from New York, Metal Gear, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
True.
And I'm like, I could be doing something that has better politics right now, but Bucky wouldn't be there, so. Ugh.
Yeah, this is the thing. I do really like Bucky. Is the problem?
Or Robert Redford.
And Robert Redford. Robert Redford wouldn't be there either. That would make me sad.
Or Steve Rogers, my wife.
My wife, Steve Rogers. He's very handsome in these movies. I want to just boop him on the nose a little bit. He's my best friend.
He's my best friend.
I miss him.
He's my sinner. He's my saint. Yeah.
Can't believe he turned into Joe Biden at the end of Endgame. That was really
sad. It's
sad.
true. Yeah, but also I'm glad that he escaped the MCU, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true.
I watched the first Omen, uh, which was kind of a mistake because I did that on a night when both of my roommates were out of town, and I was like, oh, I'm alone in the house watching a possession movie. Whoopsie. But that was all right. Very stylish, but kind of fumbled a few things, I think, at the very end and here and there in the middle. But better than average. I watched F for Fake, which is an Orson Welles documentary, quasi documentary. Crazy movie. So great. Love him. I rewatched RoboCop, which my cousin gave me on DVD, and it's a 2-disc edition. And I put the first disc in, thinking surely this will be the one. And then they got to the scene where the big robot, the first robot, like shoots that yuppie guy to death, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't working. We have to scrap it and go with RoboCop." And I was thinking to myself, I'm sure that this character is shot for a lot longer, from what I remember.
Yeah, that's a pretty goopy scene if I recall.
It's a very goopy scene. He shot for a very long time, like multiple times, and I was like, that seemed like it wasn't long enough. And I looked it up, and it turns out that the 2 discs are because disc 1 is a theatrical edition and disc 2 is the unrated director's cut. So of course I had to take the disc out and start it from the beginning and watch the unrated edition, because why am I watching RoboCop otherwise? Great movie. Watched The Passion of Joan of Arc, which was an experience. Silent films are very cool. And so I finally I watched Age of Ultron. It's a bad movie. I don't know what people want me to add to that really, except like it was really.
You've finally seen it.
I finally seen it.
Did it. I have to admit, Aaron Taylor Johnson's hot, so
he's
I don't
hot.
know what that's worth.
He's definitely hot.
That's like the only thing I as I said previously, I've completely memory holed that movie to the point where I was like, wait, which one's Age of Ultron? But I do remember that the Quicksilver hair was a good look on him, which I was like not expecting.
It's a good look. He kind of looks like he's sad and pathetic and dying the whole time, and I'm into that,
Yeah, that's why I think he's hot.
Yeah. And I mean, I a lot of stuff happens in this movie. Like they introduce a lot of stuff, so it's really hilarious to me that I just never saw that, and just was kind of going do throughout the rest of the movies, because this is the movie where like we need to go to a safe place, a safe house, and Hawkeye's like, let me introduce you guys to my wife and children who you previously never knew existed, and they're like, what's happening? And so when later in the movies, he's on a farm and Linda Cardellini is there, and she's like, "I'm his wife." I was like, "What?" But I just went with it.
I still can't believe they did that to my boy. I can't even form full correct sentences because I'm so offended. I just every time I forgot about that, I deleted it from my memory because I was like, I refuse to believe it to be true.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy that happens.
I was like, oh yay, Hawkeye, and then they did that, and I was like, fuck MCU Hawkeye. This is bullshit.
That happens in it. Thomas Kretschmann is there for like 5 seconds, and then they kill him for like no
Thomas
reason.
Thomas Kretschmann's in that movie?
Yeah, he plays some random Nazi shoot-off Hydra person in the beginning, and you're
truly,
like,
for the love of God, when will we let him play literally anyone who's... Why does he only get to play Nazis in English language movies? He's so good!
He's so good. He's not a Nazi in King Kong.
I guess he's not a Nazi in King Kong, that's true. It's his one. Sorry, I have a weird, affection for Thomas Kretschmann. Every time he shows up, I'm like, hey, it's that guy! And everyone's like, why are you like this?
What are you talking about? No, I'm the same way. He was there, the dialogue in this movie is very bad, very obnoxious, and ruins almost every good idea that they have. It's very sexually confusing to me. This is the last thing that I'll say about this. It's very sexually confusing to me that James Spader is voicing Ultron. And kind of voicing Ultron semi as... Not James Spader as, like, 90s, like, will somebody please match my freak James Spader? Like, Secretary and Crash James Spader, but, like, Robert California character he played on The Office, Boston Legal era James Spader is how he's playing Age of Ultron. Like how he was asked to play Age of Ultron, and the dialogue that they give him is like, you're playing your character from Boston Legal as a terrifying AI robot. And I'm like, I guess, but his voice is really sexy to me, so that was annoying and like really like difficult for me whenever he was on screen because I was like, this is really stupid that I can't see his face and I have to look at this ugly, stupid robot who I don't care about as a villain at all. And anyway, just so unsatisfying in so many ways.
As a preview for the rest of the episode, Chex notes, this is why the Marvel movies are bad, is because superhero movies should be camp, and they are largely not.
And that's all I have to say about that. Ezra.
Helen, I don't think that's all you've ever had to say about anything in your entire life, but I love you.
This is true, but we can't talk about James Spader for much longer or I'll go insane.
I do respect and understand that. I just like to tease you. I keep getting confused because the title for this Google Doc is just a pasted YouTube URL, and then I keep opening my tabs and being like, wait, which one is the document?
Yeah, sorry, it's the
it's yes,
the song.
I looked. The first thing I did was log in and immediately go, ooh, what's this? I just I took the bad nap earlier, so my brain is sort of still ticking back up into gear. I haven't been on the show in a hot second, so I can't remember if we talked about watching Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula with a bunch of with the squad. Saw a movie called Redline, which is the 2009 like animated one. Oh my god, that movie fucks, and I want to watch it again. I love cyberpunk like so much. So much. I love cyberpunk shit. Also, watch that and get ready to get jump scared by Liam O'Brien. I rewatched Reservoir Dogs. I went to go see The People's Joker in a theater, which was great. I love being transgender. That movie was fucking incredible. I rewatched Blow Dry, and by that I mean I was on vacation with some friends, and we were all high, and I made everyone watch Blow Dry. And they loved it, which means that I can continue to associate with them and do not have to find new roommates. Rewatched Priest 2011, which really truly is like in my heart spiritually exactly the same movie as Dread. I can't elaborate, but I probably shouldn't. That's a different episode.
Dread, Doom, and Priest are all kind of the same.
They're all kind of the same movie in a good way.
I can't tell if any of them are actually. Well, I was gonna say I can't tell if any of them are actually good. I know that there's a scale of goodness here.
Yeah.
I know, but in my heart, the point is that shit's crazy. Carl Urban is there, and I'm having a great time.
Yes, precisely. And then, also I went to go see The Princess Bride in a theater, and I firmly believe that movie actually has, like, magic powers. And I will not be convinced otherwise.
It's true.
We were talking about Lay and I went to go see this, and I was like, we had that VHS tape in my house, but I don't remember why. Because that was the first time I watched it, so, like, I was trying to figure out, like, what, why did we get it? And I asked my mom earlier, and she was like, oh, because I love that movie, and so does your dad. So we got that on VHS tape, and I was like, oh, it didn't start with me! My parents loved it. That's so cute. That's the power of Princess Bride.
Yeah, it
Hell
is.
yeah.
It's lasted all my life.
I fucking... this is the first time watching that movie since I made the connection that, of course, when you're like, aha, the soundtrack by Mark Knopfler, and you go, wait, Dire Straits Mark Knopfler? Sure is.
Yeah, and we were all like, wait, what?
It's all coming together.
So anyway, what a guy. Thank you, Mark Knopfler, for my life. I love The Princess Bride. Okay. Well, happy Pride Month, everybody. It's I don't have a good end to this sentence. We're gay, and that means we love camp.
Yep.
Love to fucking
end of sentence, end of episode, goodbye.
Love to fucking interact with the like norms and social roles that like will never fit you, but with which you therefore have a very complicated relationship by exaggerated, by sort of like, you know, doing the like zoom enhance thing and then laughing about it with your friends. That was incoherent. I'm sorry.
I did get a little lost, but I was nodding along like, yeah.
I understand, you know how like
even if I didn't understand,
you know, and even if you're like, there's just like, obviously nobody fits gender roles perfectly or like social roles perfectly or whatever, but like when you're gay, like you can do all of the same things, but you're never going to be doing it quote unquote like right or whatever according to certain people, and then sometimes you like develop a complex about that. And then sometimes you put on an exaggerated costume and like pretend to do it really hard. At which point it becomes like, you know, you're like, I'm having fun with the fact that this is the only version of this that actually makes sense for me, is like exaggerated and kind of distorted.
Drag.
But I'm like doing that with love, and also it like allows me to understand the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, drag.
Drag is camp. Like, not all camp is drag, but all drag is camp.
Yeah.
I hadn't even... Somebody brought up something earlier about the... Like, when is something camp versus rule of cool?
Yes, I made that note because I just finished watching Speed Racer, and I was trying to figure out, like, where that line falls. And I was like, the thing is, both of them are, like, they are both too much, and not everybody likes both of them, or they think it's like dumb or like distasteful or whatever, but I like them, both as like for personal reasons, and also like when you're watching film, there's something about them as like a type of film that I enjoy it. Yeah, that was me, and that was my kind of compacted thought. Nice. Compacted thought about it.
Ew.
Hey.
I feel like there's often, like, there isn't an overlap between the two concepts, but I think, like, rule of cool is about explicitly, like, we're gonna do something that should not work either according to like the internal rules of whatever like world we've set up, or just generally like that's not how, I don't know, physics works, or that's not how I don't know, like one of the things that I sometimes file under rule of cool, depending on what kind of movie it is like there's no way you can fit that many bullets in that gun, because I sometimes pay attention to that kind of thing. And you have some movies where, like, you can't fit that many, you know that this gun can shoot this number of bullets, and that will become, like, a source of tension. And then other times it's like, you're looking at the same gun, but in a different movie, it's like, man, you fired, like, 19 shots out of that 6-shooter, and I don't care, because they were all really cool.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a little bit with like watching Furiosa today, which is I don't think that the definition of like movies that are camp, I think, is like really broad, and I think that some people, I've seen like lists of movies that people think are camp, and I'm like, some of them are, I'm like, I don't know if that's true. And some people have said for some reason that Mad Max Fury Road is camp. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't agree with it.
I don't.
But I would not personally agree
say
with
that there's
if we're gonna pick a Mad Max to be camp, it's Beyond Thunderdome, first of all.
Oh, absolutely.
Learn your history.
100%. That's just true. But I think there's an element in common where it's like Mad Max Fury Road is really it's exaggerated in some ways. Like there's things that are accelerated, and everything is there's a lot happening. Like I said earlier, like a lot of movie. And sometimes things are, you know, a lot for some people who saw that. There were certain, I think, choices that were made that were really off-putting to them because of editing choices and sometimes he speeds up the film in that movie, which you don't see a lot in a lot of movies these days, and sometimes people thought that was exaggerated or whatever. But actually, the larger point I'm trying to make is Furiosa. Like, there are things that people were talking about vis-a-vis Furiosa, like critiquing the plot of it as a Mad Max prequel, um, because George Miller like does not give a single solitary shit about chronology and plot. So they were like saying, "Well, why this doesn't make any sense logically? This, and this," and I was like, I don't really care about any of that. Like, I still don't think that Furiosa is camp either, but that's also, I think, a similarity between like that rule of cool situation where like I don't really care about that part of it. That veers very closely into critiquing like the plot to a detrimental degree where I don't think that's why I'm watching a movie, if that makes any sense. It doesn't really impact my. That's not the kind of story that I'm watching. It's not the story isn't told through those logical plot beats that we like looking at plot beats on a page.
There are movies which are like there are movies where like internal continuity is really important, especially if like because there are movies that like hang on internal continuity or like continuity from in like within a series. Like, it is important that certain plot beats happened in a certain order, or things happen to people at a certain point in their lives, and once you establish that, if you like forget about it or fuck around with it, like it's like a hey, hang on, that makes this other thing feel weird. Whereas like the Mad Max movies are like they're much more about vibes than like you're like this is a I feel like there are so many things like, and like I will admit I have not seen the original Mad Max movies. I've just heard a lot about them from you guys, but like there's an extent to which like a bunch of things in this world don't like necessarily make logical sense because there's so much about like we broke everything, and like us, the people who broke like who were living with the thing before it was broken and then also broke it, like it kind of makes sense that we're not able to immediately recognize why people did what they did in the aftermath of that if all they had was the broken thing. Right. Like, you don't fucking know how archaeologists are gonna they don't know what you were doing with the thing. They're gonna put shit together in a way that makes sense, and then like, I'm sure there are many situations where if you, like, showed the way we reconstructed the thing to somebody who had, like, made the thing would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you're like, 25 bazillion years of history between us is what's wrong with me, comrade? I don't fucking know!
Yeah.
Anyway,
all of this being said, there are characters in the Mad Max movies, in Fury Road and in Furiosa, whose names are Scrotus and Rictus and Piss Boy.
Yeah.
And the Doof Warrior. So, like, you know, that's kind of camp. Dementis, the character that Chris Hemsworth is playing in Furiosa, is camp. Like, the performance that he's giving could be considered that in some ways. But I don't know. That's my entire point. I think that like it comes and it goes, but it's not the entire movie. I mean, there's with camp, I guess, like right that there's that element of exaggeration of like the intensity of character and emotion, like turning the throttle on it all the way up. Like Showgirls to me, as an example of camp, is like 100% on the dial on basically everything, every action every character takes, and the costumes and the set pieces and the sex scenes, everything is dialed all the way up. The subtlety is out the window. We don't give a shit about subtlety and trying to be like, what's the underlying theme? It's like we're shouting it at you.
Yeah.
There's kitsch, well, like, there's visual audacity.
Camp and melodrama can be quite close together too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of people refer to like the Douglas Sirk movies, those like All That Heaven Allows and stuff, and this being like camp. So
I feel like it's like melodrama. Melodrama becomes camp when you're invited to laugh at it, even when it is also still making you feel big feelings. It's like camp is camp is extremely, like, you can't be self-conscious about camp. Like, you can't be apologizing for what you're doing and have it still be camp. But camp is also, like, it is self-aware. It's just, like, that seems like those seem like opposite concepts, but they're not, trust me. Mm-hmm. Because camp is self-aware but not self-deprecating, or, like, it can be, but it's like you have to be in on the joke. It can't be making fun of itself in, like, a negative way. It's not camp is the opposite of haha that just happened, isn't that so crazy? Mm-hmm. I say as I'm attempting to convey how frustrating I find that kind of shit.
It's so annoying. Yeah.
So you get your big exaggerated emotions in melodrama, and they're, it's meant to be taken seriously. Like, you're meant to be swept up in it. And then camp often is, like, I feel like it's, like, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times it's doing the same thing in the service of a slightly different impact. Like, camp doesn't have to be funny for the purposes of being funny, but usually it's, like, it's funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, like, I don't know. I also, sometimes I watch camp and it's, like, it always sort of makes me feel the, like, the kind of, like, man, like, nothing's real, like, meaning is what you make of it. I'm gonna just, why should I, why do I have to, like, agree with the subtlety police?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am fucking, unemploying the subtlety police cop in my head.
Mm-hmm. Or the person in your head, the narc in your head, who's, like, trying to instill in you what that good art is supposed to look a certain way, and sound a certain way, and act a certain way, and behave a certain way. And I think that,
or the idea that, like, authenticity only comes from, like, that authenticity is always, like, subtle and contained.
Yeah, that it has to sound like a David Mamet play. Which is funny because David Mamet is not subtle, but, like,
no, but David Mamet takes himself so fucking seriously,
which is so funny.
David Mamet is so fucking firmly convinced that he is, like, the only man who has understood the entire concept of theater in, like, 3,500 years. And the fact that he, like, genuinely believes that is simultaneously enraging and the funniest goddamn thing I have heard in, like, ages, because he's such a twat about it.
Yeah. I can't even comment on him because he's his own worst enemy. Everything that he does every day, I'm just like, every time he does a new thing, I'm like, well, I don't even have to do anything. I'm just sitting here as a hater. I know.
It's like this shit.
Played yourself.
The clowning, it clowns on itself. It's like a perpetual motion machine of clowning.
Yeah, it's a shame because Glengarry Glen Ross is a pretty good play.
Yeah, okay, Glengarry Glen Ross is a pretty good play. I just hate the movie because I don't like Alec Baldwin.
Fair.
I just don't like the only time I've liked Alec Baldwin was in fucking Beetlejuice, and I think that's because I was pissed off about other things about Beetlejuice.
That's valid of you.
I don't know. My dad really liked Glengarry Glen Ross at one point, and then he got me to watch it because he's like, "You'll like this movie," and I was like, "Dad, this is really sexist," and he was like, "Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This is not as fun as I remembered it being. Wow, this movie hates women."
My dad and I had a similar experience with that and the movie Mr. Roberts, which we didn't even finish. It's like a random...
I gotta go look up what this is.
It's like ostensibly a comedy. Jack Lemmon, God, who else is in that movie? Your Usual Suspects, a 1950s comedy. Got nominated for Best Picture. It's like a naval boys in the sea,
okay,
like, having a time, but it's not a musical.
55. Henry Fonda's in this.
Henry Fonda. But it's like we stopped watching it, and I was like, oh, I remember liking this movie. And we were like 30 minutes in, and we were both just like, this movie is really sexist in like a bad way. And not in like a fun kind of like of the time we'll see these characters get their comeuppance way, in like a really like textually offensive way.
Jaegers.
Anyway, that is not camp. This is not.
No.
Glengarry,
no, it's not.
Glen Ross is not. This too is camp. Unfortunately, I can't. This too is camp it. Baz Luhrmann though. Baz Luhrmann movies.
Oh, Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann.
Bozzy.
He.
My best friend of the pod.
Sorry, that really got me really bad.
We're not nicknaming him today.
No, it was. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, no, I don't even know what to say about Baz Luhrmann.
I mean, what?
I mean, I love his stuff, and it's so fucking earnest, which is like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so you know, it's the I think there's like a more is more sensibility to camp, where you're like, why not? Why shouldn't I, if I have like 3 ideas for how to convey the thing, why shouldn't I do all of them to emphasize the thing?
Mm-hmm. I also think that I think that Shakespeare and camp is a really underrated and underused in some ways combination in film, because I think there is an inherent like there's some stuff that happens in Shakespeare, right, where you're like, dog, that's crazy. And again, it's that line between melodrama and camp, I think, but there is some stuff especially that happens in Romeo and Juliet. We were talking about this the other night because it came up, and how fast rom-coms usually happens, and how fast the plot of West Side Story happens, and then like it's not quite as fast as the plot of the original Romeo and Juliet, but that still happens pretty quickly. Like everything that goes down in Romeo and Juliet happens so quickly, and so much happens. And it is kind of that frenetic, intense, visually like in your face, over the top energy that Romeo plus Juliet has. I think is really suited to that, like, because sometimes you do have to, like, we were talking earlier about like when you should and shouldn't comment on, when Marvel movies, for instance, like comment on what's happening to them. But I have seen plays that, without like adaptations of Shakespeare plays, like a recent production of Pericles that I saw, that without directly addressing it, kind of did comment on the fact that like all of a sudden in Pericles, pirates just randomly show up and kidnap Marina. And they did it in a way where it's just like they all showed up and it's like, we're pirates now, and they wrapped her and like took her away in a net, and then this character was left alone on stage. It was like, pirates, who could have, like, in a way that was like, wow, who could have foreseen this? What a twist. Because it is insane, because he was in that era, because Pericles is one of his later plays where he was just throwing everything at the wall and doing all of the shit. So yeah, like I think that, matching the style of camp with the text, I think is fine. I think that really works. But yeah.
And it's like I think there are times when you, especially with an adaptation like that, that's very like, we are temporally very far away, and like social sensibilities very far away from the context in which those plays were written. And there's an element to which, like, leaning, like not trying to apologize or gloss over the things that seem kind of nuts, or that's why it's like I can say, like, it brings you in on the joke. in a way that doesn't apologize for it. You're not laughing at it. You're like, haha, that's bizarre. Like, or isn't this wacky? It's like oh yeah, we know it's wacky, and maybe it was wacky to people who were listening to this thing fucking 500 years ago or whatever, and that's okay, because there's this temptation to take things like Shakespeare really, really, really seriously, and it's inviting you to not to love its exaggerated aspects without feeling like you have to like act like they're not there. Like, I always feel like that's a good way to just, because, yeah, you're like, okay, yes, these differences are real. We're not asking you to act like these differences aren't real. We're asking you to suspend. I mean, I feel like so much of camp is just about, like, suspension of disbelief, but acknowledging suspension of disbelief in a way that, like, is, like, how do I put this? It's almost like rewarding the audience for their suspension of disbelief by being like, not in a way where it's like if you buy into this, we will both have a good time.
Right.
If you go along with this, and you might, like, if you are willing to suspend your disbelief as I exaggerate something about this, you will get something more out of it than you would if you weren't willing to go along with it, and you'll get something more out of it than you would if I was just not blowing this up so you can look more closely at it. That's why I was joking about the, like, your classic, like, we're reviewing the security footage, like, hey, I'd like pause, zoom, enhance, like, we're gonna get some insane detail off of this grainy ass CCTV footage, and you're like, that's not how that works.
Not how it
I
works.
don't care.
Don't care. I watched.
I just need to move this fucking plot along. Sometimes you just need to move the fucking plot along.
I watched so many seasons of CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, and, like, I know that people IRL are, like, mad about how, like, inaccurate that show is, and I understand that there
rolling
might be
my eyes so hard I'm gonna fall out of my chair.
I mean, I understand that when it comes to actual crimes, like, maybe there is some real life harm if people expect crimes to be solved much faster, but also, like, not really, and it's a TV show, so we're gonna make stuff up. CSI is camp, in a way. Parts of it are camp. Would you guys say... Now, I haven't seen Hannibal. Is Hannibal...
Really?
Is it? I don't know. I'm asking genuinely. Is it?
No, I'm sorry. Helena, how did I forget that you haven't seen Hannibal?
I don't know. I
found out it's on Shudder the other day.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I didn't know this, B, memory hold it. Or C, have just been assuming that you've seen Hannibal this whole time?
I think it's one of those things...
If I had to do a guess... Please, go ahead.
I don't know, we're probably thinking the same thing. I think it's one of those things where sometimes Maddie and I are in a room and we'll be talking about something that happened in high school, and Ezra will be like, well, why wasn't I there for that? I don't remember. And we have to be like, Ezra, you didn't go to high school with us. I think it's like one of those situations, Z, where it's like, you met me and you had this connection with Maddie over Hannibal when you met, and then I came into your life very shortly after, and you just kind of assumed that I was also carrying the aura of Hannibal upon my shoulders.
Yeah,
that was literally what I was gonna say, is you and I made our first like, friend connection over Hannibal, and ergo you assumed that Helena had also seen Hannibal.
Yeah. Now,
I think I did know that you hadn't seen it.
I have to recalibrate a couple of things about my worldview real fast. I'll be right back.
Now, to be fair, I have been planning on watching it for a very long time. I just haven't gotten around to it. I, of course, am sure that I will very much enjoy it. I
need to rewatch it because I never saw season 3.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was the last season, right? Or was that 4 seasons?
Yeah. So I watched the first 2 seasons and never got around to season 3 because there was a big gap in between season 2 and season 3. So by the time season 3 came around, I was kind of, like, out of it.
Yeah.
I had moved on.
That happens. Yeah, I watched the very first episode, I think, when it first came out, and it's very, from what we were used to at the time, I think, shockingly, because again, as I previously mentioned, I watched like a lot of CSI. It was a very, very gory episode, and I was all about that.
It was a very gore show.
I was sitting there kind of like very happy at video call, so I remember the listeners can't see my face, but I was like that, big smiley emoji watching it, but my parents were just like, this is gross. And I was like, you've seen Silence of the Lambs, like, why is this a problem? And they're like, I can't do this every week.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And then I heard that Raul Esparza was on it, and I was like, I really want to watch the show. And they're like, no, it's too gory. I was like, okay. And then I heard that Eddie Izzard was on it, and I was like, I really want to watch this show, you guys. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay.
Richard Armitage showed up later.
Richard Armitage shows up later.
Richard Armitage spends a lot of time
Gillian
running
Anderson
around in his
shows up
underwear
later
on that show, if that changes anything for you.
I mean, I'm always down for that. I love him. Yeah, it's always a show that, again, like, I have always had the intention of watching. And I will say that a lot of people I know who are mutuals of Ezra and I on Twitter and Tumblr who watch Hannibal also are very obsessed with Interview with the Vampire. So I'm just throwing out that out there as well. There's definitely an overlap.
I from what I can tell about Interview with the Vampire, I would say that yes, there is a decent amount of sort of like overlap in sensibilities, in like storytelling sensibilities. Obviously the format is really different. I mean, because Hannibal is a weekly procedural to start out with. Its relationship with that genre / format is increasingly tenuous as the show goes on.
It was also a good way a network television show as well, and so it was able to. It wasn't. Despite it was very intense. It did have the 10 p.m. time slot, as I recall, but it wasn't able to get away with Interview with the Vampires 10 p.m. slot on AMC, for example.
There are some different levels of permissiveness. NBC's Hannibal. Still can't believe that fucking insane. There's an infamous moment, which Brian Fuller has talked about, in which they did a lot of tableaus of fucked up dead bodies. One of which included 2 adult human figures. Helena, I love you, and also I'm going to fly to New York to stare you in the eye in real life. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna stare you in the eye in real life.
Sorry, listeners.
So you can think about what you've done.
I put a stupid joke in the chat.
Anyway,
I hate the show.
There's a moment where there are 2 human corpses who have had I'm sorry if you are squeamish, stop listening for a minute. Had the skin on their backs like removed so that and like held up with fishing wire so it looks like wings. And Brian Fuller was like, yep, they didn't have a problem with that. They were like, you have to put more blood on there because we can see butt crack, and that's unacceptable. And he's like, those are mutilated human corpses. And they were like, yep, no butt crack though.
Sounds about right.
So, just we all hate fucked up.
America is such a deeply fucked up country. I think this is a related. I am going to go on a very, very, very small, brief tangent on the Interview with the Vampire situation, because of course the Vampire Chronicles, the books especially, are extremely melodramatic and extremely campy. The opening paragraph to the Vampire Lestat was going around Tumblr the other day, and someone was comparing it, reminding everyone that My Immortal was probably written as a parody fic of this book, because he just talks like that in it, and she just makes him talk like that. It is extremely melodramatic. They only get more melodramatic as the series goes on. I think that, where was I going with this? It's really interesting with the show because it is a horror show, because there's vampires and there is violence on it. a lot of the most horrifying parts of the show, especially this season, come from the running theme of the show, which is abuse and the cyclical nature of abuse and the vagaries of memory and how our perception of events warps our entire lives and how we think of ourselves and our relationships with others. And that actually is the most fucked up, horrifying thing on the show. There are horrifying things that are done to people, but like they're vampires. So you're kind of just like, well, this is just, again, as somebody on Tumblr said, it's not a show about like vampires who are gay. It's a show about gay people with personality disorders who happen to be vampires. Um, that's just what the series is about.
I love the fandom of I love the fandom interview with the vampire just because everyone's so quotable.
They're very quotable. There are some interesting folks out there who I've had to distance myself from, i.e. block on Tumblr, because I was like, I'm not engaging in all of that. But there's for the people who are in there who are great. There's some real scribes out there. And then I think that like the show itself is less campy than the books are so far because it is like taking this theme very seriously, but not too seriously in a way where you have to be like, okay, I get it. Like it's not hitting you over the head with a hammer with it and trying to be obnoxious about it, which I really appreciate. But that is, I think that camp flourishes in American art because of that weird discrepancy that you just mentioned, Ezra, where like I think that there's been a weird thing where like the time slot for the show has moved around a little bit and it's kind of hard to tell if it was because of the more gay sex and how like they would do it for that but not for the increased level of graphic violence and the how you just mentioned having to cover the butt crack with blood and the whole Torchwood situation where they were like graphically murdering people every week and they were like, can we have some gay sex also please, and they were like, we're not showing that on BBC America for some reason. Like this, it's just like I think that camp flourishes because of that, because this idea of bad taste or whatever. I don't know. I'm forming this aloud as I'm speaking it and working through it, so I don't really know if I'm saying anything at all. But I feel like there's something to that where sex, especially, and sexuality is seen as this very taboo thing in America that we're not really allowed to. Historically, we haven't really been allowed to either talk about or appreciate or celebrate or be weird about, and like I think that that lends itself to a lot of what our camp movies and art and television and books and plays look like, because that is typically considered to be bad taste, and so we can't talk about it. So you get somebody like John Waters who's like, oh, all of those things that you just said we can't talk about, I'm going to talk about them in the most in-your-face offensive way, and also make it incredibly funny at the same time, and you can possibly imagine. And what are you going to do about it? Because I made this with my own money. you know um so I don't know if it would be any different if the puritanism and the puritanical ideas around sex were different in America. Like I just don't know what that would look like. That's a, butterfly effect situation.
I think that's a very good point. Like we would camp does specifically come out of people being fucked up about stuff. And what it is you're fucked up and wacko about is it's I feel like camp is really good at identifying the things that like touch a nerve and then poking them. You gotta keep poking them.
Yeah.
Like, and it makes you feel weird. And it's supposed to make you feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I'm not even sure if that feels bad. It's just like a novel sensation. Yeah. Because usually you don't actually poke the specific thing. So sometimes you just keep poking the thing. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true. What else is there in this soup?
There's, yeah. definitely a soup. What else? I'm like, were there any movies we wanted to talk about specifically?
Well, Maddie, did we talk about Speed Racer enough to the point where we think we covered like what is that, if that is camp?
I mean, I don't think we've really talked about it at all. I am happy to.
I am
Please
confusing it with
Speed
our
Racer. I'm very curious.
Pre-recording conversation.
Yeah. So Speed Racer 2008 by oh my god, I always forget how to pronounce their last name.
The Wachowskis.
Is it
Wachowskis? They made The Matrix. You know them. You love them.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah.
They had not come out yet when this movie came out, so the credits list them as the brothers, and I was like, what the fuck? Oh, right. Very confusing for a second. I mean, it's Speed Racer with some actual plot thrown in, because Speed Racer is obviously I think it was originally an anime that came to the US. I don't remember, though. It's like Saturday morning cartoon made into a movie with an actual plot. Part of it is, like, a lot of the movie is about, like, love, be it love for your family or your friends or the people you trust, and also, like loving yourself and sticking true to who you are, and also racing cars to defeat capitalism, which was pretty bomb.
I really am excited to watch this movie. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And then it's also about the, like, it's a lot of people talk now about, like, this movie bombed because it's so visually intense. There's a lot of, like, transitions where someone's talking and their head, like, moves across the screen, and that does the wipe transition.
Yes.
Is them talking, and then somebody, like, so it'll do a lot of those transitions back and forth. It's a lot of, like, really bright colors filling a screen. It's very, like, trippy in some places. There are actually less times than you would think, where I would be watching it and being like, I think I've lost track of the plot, like, visually, but that actually only happened a couple times, which is weird, considering at one point we have 3 protagonist car racers, and each one is dealing with 3 other cars trying to kill them. So that's, 12 cars that we have to keep track of, all of which are trying to blow other cars up. And I was still able to figure out who was doing what and what was going on with all these different cars. So that's kind of impressive. But it was hard, because and maybe that's a me thing, where, like, I specifically associate camp with, there is something about it that has, like, a queerness to it.
That's fair.
Specifically. So, and I'm like, well, this doesn't necessarily have that, so that, and it's, it's about, like, the like, self-acceptance and stuff, and it's very, like, blow up in your face and unapologetic about being just wacky and what it is. And also, everyone and their mom is in that movie. It's wild.
Yeah, Susan Sarandon's in that movie.
People kept coming on the screen, and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, Susan Sarandon's there, John Goodman's there, Roger Allam is there.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Our man, Roger Allam.
Yeah, hold on.
Friend of the pod, Roger Allam.
The girlfriend is someone crazy also. Come on, IMDb.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here clicking for several minutes. Christina Ricci is there.
Oh,
yo, what?
As the girlfriend.
What is she up to these days? I'm gonna go look that up.
Great question.
Being my girlfriend.
So it's big cast, a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of corny. It's just so, like, I think that I'm sure I could Google Speed Racer Camp and get a lot of arguments for it.
Sure.
I don't know. I am kind of on the fence, and I think I would need to chew it over a little bit, and when you guys eventually watch it, I would be interested in hearing your opinions. I think I also have a slightly more strict ruling on what I consider to be camp or not, so I guess my answer is, like, I don't really know. I know that it's like it is very like fuck it. I want to do this cool thing where cars blow up and they do a lot of spins and shit. It's like you're playing monkey ball with race cars. And they go literally flying and exploding everywhere. And it's cool, but I don't know. And so that unapologeticness makes me think, like, that was not a good word or a real one. The fact that it is unapologetically like, fuck it, we're doing something cool and fun, and like, this is about the fucking Speed Racer cartoon. And it's also about like love. Is like, yeah, maybe, but also it's also like, I don't know, they're doing a lot of stuff where it's about, you know, it'd be cool, we blow up cars, and we make really weird scene transitions. And maybe it's just that, so,
I'm very curious, because I do feel like there is a potential for camp in taking a thing that you loved when you were a kid and finding something in it that is sort of like in terms of like, I don't know, there's like there's like the sort of queer lens of like taking something that you loved as a kid and being like, I'm gonna make this my own, I'm going to like add in elements, or I'm gonna find elements, or like frame it in a way that is sort of makes it say things about me now as like a queer adult, but I don't necessarily know that that's automatically camp. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I'm standing here. And also part of it is like there is kind of like automatically a lot of like modern updates or modern movie translations of older cartoons just inherently have that, because they have to try and make like a whole movie plot line out of something that was like an episodic kind of like, what's Speed Racer gonna do this week? He's gonna race a car. So like it has to have something more meaningful and interesting to make it a movie. And a lot of we've seen movies like that where it's just kind of like it just has to have that to even work.
Right. You know, you said interesting scene transitions, and you know what I immediately thought of was the Star Wars prequels.
Which this puts the Star Wars prequels to shame.
Okay, good. That's very exciting to hear.
But in a way that I love specifically, but I could understand why people went to the box office and were like, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
Yeah.
I went on to the tag on Tumblr, and someone was like, "This movie has incredible like graphics in a way that like I think would underappreciate it," and I'm like, this movie uses more green screen than almost anything I've ever seen in my life. That doesn't mean it's like a graphical masterpiece. Let's roll it back a little bit here. This is like, this movie came out in 2008, and you can tell they were like, let's push the absolute limits of what CG can do, and it doesn't always work.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
it's out there.
At least they were trying
in a way that like, yeah, they were trying, and they were trying hard, and there's something about it that I appreciate. And once again, I'm looking and I'm thinking, like, is this a modern masterpiece? Is this one of those things that flopped to the box office and it shouldn't have? I don't think so. I understood why it flopped to the box office. I think if they release it now, it would flop again.
Maybe.
But this is not like the thing where I'm like, the John Carpenter's The Thing should not have flopped. This movie is a masterpiece, and I'm really disappointed that audiences didn't love this. I watched Speed Racer 2008, and I think, yeah, no, I get it. I love it. I'm having a fucking blast. Here he comes. Sure. Here comes Speed Racer. But it is what it is.
Sure. Yeah. At an inaccessible point for some people, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I do feel like, I don't think that the Mad Max movies and Furiosa movies are Furiosa is camp, but there is, like, there are editing choices still. There's one editing choice in Furiosa in particular that he makes, which I think is, like, fine. it made both times that I've seen this movie now, it made some people in the audience laugh. And like there are things in this movie that are funny, but like it's like this weird editing thing that he does. I don't think it's I don't think it's a bad editing choice. I just think that it's different. And I remember when Fury
It's
Road
just
came
a
out,
choice.
people were just like, the editing is so like so much of the editing is so crazy, which makes it a masterpiece for Fury Road. But there are some really weird stuff in there where people weren't quite sure what to make of it. And I guess like it's a very tricky tightrope to walk because we have those wipes and those fades and in Attack of the Clones, which
Yeah.
oh boy, um, you
I think
know,
there's a difference between the going for it and like making a serious choice to go for it and like missing the mark.
sure.
And I'm gonna go for this and I'm gonna reach for it and it might be kind of whack and I don't care. I know going into it that this is a wild choice to make and I'm loving it anyway. Versus the like it's the levity versus being like super serious about it. Like I think that this is a good solid choice and not getting there, and the like I don't think this necessarily is a good choice, but I think it's an interesting one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where so I think our friend George was like, I'm gonna go for this choice. I think it's an interesting, clever choice. And
yeah.
Now we look at it and we're like, oh George. Oh my man. Not like this.
Not like this.
Where I think they made Speed Racer and they were like, fuck it, we're gonna have people swiping across the screen left and right and spinning their heads around. Fuck it. Why not? Obviously I'm not in their heads. I can't know if that's why they did it, but it has a very fuck it, why not kind of vibe that I think makes the key point. For me, I think camp has to have a sense of levity to it. Not necessarily the whole thing, but, there has to be, like, a feeling of, like, I am enjoying kind of just fucking around and finding out while making this film.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Like looking at a couple of movies on that note of, like, levity, looking at a couple of movies that I put on this list, But I'm a Cheerleader and, in fact, The People's Joker. I think both of those movies are about the ostensibly about the pain and the frustrations and the all the little fucking things that happen when you're trying to come out or you're forced to come out, in the case of When I'm a Cheerleader, and into a community that doesn't necessarily accept you right away, or maybe in the case of The People's Joker, in a community where you are accepted, but then there's other problems as well. And yet they're approached with such good humor and tenderness and levity and brightness. Like, I mean, the visual, Zay, you can speak to this a little bit. The visual, because The People's Joker was made on a like shoestring budget, they had like editing choices and visual effects choices that were made are like purposefully, you know, I don't know how you would describe it. I mean, they're very silly. It's a very low budget film.
Yeah, it's very like it has that feeling of like this was all we could afford to do, but you would never know because it's done so well that it feels like it's the only possible way you could have told that story.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't imagine a so-called like higher budget version of this movie, because
if that movie
what
didn't
it is
occasionally just suddenly turn into like MS Paint animation, it would not be the same. Because it's so. I always feel, and I feel like it's so, it's like it's that movie particularly is very like, it's very like, you have to laugh about this shit because otherwise, like, wow, holy fuck, what else are you gonna do? Die?
Yeah.
Literally. So, and it also makes things that I feel like is sometimes you can use camp to make things bearable, because if you exaggerate them so you can laugh at them, they're not scary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In Slay, a movie I don't think either of you have seen yet.
I want to see this so bad now.
Yeah. Z, I will say, it is there. It is gross at times.
Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah, there is some like body horror, and the like bits and pieces are going flying, and there's a lot of blood. But the main idea is it's 4 drag queens who accidentally book the wrong bar, and they roll up to this like super macho redneck bar. And the beginning part of the movie is them being like, we're not safe here, we're not wanted here. Like, we have to leave because this place doesn't want us.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually and then it becomes the comedy. They stay for some like, there's like 2 queer people in town who are excited. They stay for them, and then vampires start happening. But it is very much an approach. The like, part of it is the like, we have to kind of laugh at this and find a way to make a comedy of it, because this is a real fear that people experience. This is a real thing that happens to people. Is like, I've entered a place where I could be in danger. People don't want me, and people see me as the villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of it sounds like a sort of version of Green Room in a way, which is not very camp, but like a very similar situation where they end up at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that is
the wrong
the premise is similar.
Yeah, and they're like, oopsie, whoopsie, yeah, taking the horror of one situation and turning it into another kind of horror is something that like I think is really fun. I did see Reanimator on a couple of camp lists, and I wasn't sure.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I was like, maybe.
I think that's one of those ones where you guys are. I think it's a little too serious about itself and a little too horror-y.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you've got a queer reading of it, which, to be fair, it's there. Doesn't necessarily make it camp. I think it's too. But it's not. I guess this is the same situation where I'm like, I'm seeing it because it's kind of like over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and the effects are not great, and it's kind of like out there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's still like, this movie is like taking itself kind of seriously, even if what's happening is kind of ridiculous.
Sure.
It's a little more B movie than camp, maybe.
Yes. Although I would argue that there could be an argument made that a lot of things that are B movies could automatically go into the a simple nature
Agreed.
of being B movies. But I agree with you that I don't think it's quite there. I did drift away for a second there, because as soon as we bring up Reanimator every time now, I just start thinking about the deleted hallway scene. And
yes.
um
yes, Daddy will hear us out, or whatever the fuck he says. No, that's not what he says.
I just know that the word daddy is involved, and then my
and he says it the most fucking monotone ever.
Daddy will see that we're serious.
Oh, we'll see we're serious.
We'll see
yeah.
we're serious.
Yes, Daddy will see that we're serious.
Which I forget is a cutscene all the time, because to me that's like
it's so
most
sad.
important scene in Reanimator, and it's not even in the finished product.
It's not even but it's on my DVD, which is the important part, I think.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I do think that Return of the Living Dead is camp a little bit. But that's different. I don't know. I feel like covered a lot of ground. I don't know if there's anything I have left to say.
I think my heart tells me what's camp and what isn't for me, and that's just what I have to live with.
Exactly.
It's I feel like a lot of times it can't, it's like camp is hard to explain because it often, I feel like, involves feeling seen somewhere where you perhaps did not expect to feel seen. And like, I think it's also quite hard to like define objectively or to sort of get everybody to agree. Like I think there are some times where it's obvious and everybody can kind of point and go, aha, camp, we figured it out. And then there are other things that make people go, I think this is camp, and other people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And like yet... your reading comprehension something. Yeah.
I also think that like we put a couple of Susan Sontag quotes in here from her notes on camp, and I think, and one of the things that we didn't put in here that I did see was like trying to define camp is by its very nature taking something away from it. And so saying that like we all know what camp is and it can inherently, even though we've just talked about it for like a long time, like saying that we can inherently like point at it and be like, well, this is camp and that isn't, is like it's not really what camp is about. And to do that is kind of going against this idea of what constitutes good taste and bad taste, and if that is easily definable. That's not what she says. It's taking her idea and extrapolating mine into it.
Does it not by its very nature resist and transgress categorization? And therefore attempting to categorize the thing is like just vibes. You feel that, oh, okay, nope, this is not what your hippocampus does, but my brain was just like, haha, that's what that's not what your hippocampus is. This joke is DOA. Sorry.
I appreciate you. Oh man. Any other thoughts on camp and any of the other movies we put down here?
I want to rewatch Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Hell yeah.
A sentence I've never said out loud before, and probably never will again.
You maybe immediately after starting Beyond Thunderdome, you'll be like, but you will hopefully finish it.
I mean, I don't think it's like unwatchably bad. No. I'm usually thinking I could be watching Mad Max 2 right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you might just remember why you never say the sentence out loud once you start it.
Yeah.
And then they did play the Tina Turner music video before Furiosa Day at Nighthawk, which was very special.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And a lot of trailers for similar movies about crazy people in cars during a semi-apocalyptic event. That apparently is a whole genre that a
big genre right now.
Well, big genre during, like, after Mad Max. Like, Mad Max kind of started this trend which reverberated, I feel like a lot of stuff that was from the 80s and 70s, like a lot of really B-movie camp, one might say, movies about people killing each other in cars. And we were like, okay. Ezra is kindly informing the chat that Christina Ricci is on Yellow Jackets and the Netflix Wednesday show, which is the only reason that I have been given to watch the Wednesday show. So thank you.
I didn't even know that existed Christina before Ricci. Now.
Yeah, she's very pretty. I mean, if Christina Ricci being pretty is the note that we go out on, I'm okay with that. But I want to make sure that
I'm okay with that. I think.
Yeah, Ezra, you okay with that being the last thing that we say on this here?
Happy Pride.
Episode?
I don't know. I was just gonna say like, Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride.
Go out and explore your identity in the way that seems best to you, and also remember to operate in solidarity with all oppressed people everywhere, and no cops at Pride.
And no cops at Pride. Same sentiments to all of those.
Mad Max at Pride.
And also, happy Pride, Christina Ritchie. If you're listening to this podcast, new episodes drop every other Thursday, which is coincidentally the day that I am
Come on the
free.
show.
Yeah. So yeah, come on the show, Christina. You're very pretty and we like your acting. Happy Pride to you and to everyone else who listens to the show who's not Christina.
Tom Hardy, I would say I'm also free on Thursdays,
Tom
but
Hardy,
it's only every other Thursday.
It's only every other Thursday when we're
that's when I post the podcast, so I'm busy doing that.
Yeah, Maddie's really busy on those days. However, I do work, but if you offer to like buy me dinner, I'll pretend I have like COVID and I'll quit work early.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, okay, I think that's it.
That's it. That's all we have to say about that. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content and come chat with us on the Infinity Break Discord, which you can find at bit.ly I Infinity T Talk. You can also shoot us an email at sneopleatthemovies@gmail.com if you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or you want to explain why your favorite movie is camp. Our Oscar-worthy music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. And our glorious Technicolor logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. Check her out at blalaniarts.wixsite.com. If you enjoyed listening, please leave us a review on iTunes and share the show with your friends, your enemies, and your partners in crime. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.